like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you're listening to this on an audio-only format, make sure to leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it. I'm Makayla Perkins, that's Chierstin Susel, and we're hoping that you'll take a study break with us for this elusive, I don't know if it's elusive, that's probably not the right word. I think I need to go back to college.
What's elusive? What are you trying to say?
I don't know. I was trying to hype up the show and I couldn't find the right adjective.
This show's gonna be freaking elusive.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was trying to say.
We are so elusive on this show. I don't even know, but I
got my degree from Arizona State University. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
I wish I could help you out. Like, I don't know what you're trying to go for.
Don't knock Arizona State University. I got my degree from there too, and I'm just fine.
I think every person in this room got their degree from Arizona State University. So, here we go. Here we are. All right. I don't know where I was going with that. It's TBSV Friday. It's the best freaking day of the week. Chierstin, how are you feeling?
I feel great. We were singing before the show got started.
Yes.
Mermaid and wait, what is it?
The Little Mermaid?
The Little Mermaid.
Okay, we're both on the struggle bus today.
The Little Mermaid beforehand, and that really pumped me up.
Yeah, we were in Espo's office making fun of all of the gadgets and gizmos. Gizmos?
Gizmos and gadgets
galore. Thingamabobs? I've got 20.
But who cares?
No big deal.
I want more.
Listen, if you're a Broadway producer and you're out there right now, sign me and Chierstin up for a live action Little Mermaid. We will blow the socks off those people.
I was going to say, Chierstin, there's a moment there where it sounded like you actually have some pipes. Like...
No. Oh, whatever you think you thought you heard. No.
Chierstin and I both sound like dying cats when we try to sing. So
yeah.
All right, Chierstin. Well, besides it being Friday, you know what my other favorite thing to do on a Friday? It's going down to the Four Peaks Brewery in Tempe and eating some chicken tendies and drinking a beer because, my God, Four Peaks has the best chicken tendies in the world. And we were out there this past Wednesday for Four Peaks Wednesday. So if you were out there, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It was awesome to see you and hang out with you guys. As a reminder, we do this every single Wednesday, the last Wednesday of the month. So if you want to come hang out with us, make sure you stay tuned for the next one. That will be happening the last Wednesday of the upcoming month of August. And as always, check out Four Peaks, grab a beer. They have amazing flavors. My favorite is the hazy IPA. I think that's Chierstin's favorite too. We do everything together. We're connected at the hip, so no surprise there. But as always, you must be 21 and up, and please enjoy responsibly. Chierstin, my girl, we got to do a temperature check. I don't know. I really think this week was kind of boring.
Good morning. Nothing to see here. Nothing going on in Arizona sports, specifically with the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray contract. Nothing to see.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see. Everybody look away. Nobody pay attention to what's going on with the Cardinals right now. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, where do we start with this?
I don't even know where to start with this because this has been a drama fest.
I think we start with the latest. And the latest being there was a independent study clause in Kyler Murray's contract that caused a poo storm.
A poo storm?
Oh, this is where I come in. A shitstorm.
Oh my God, you did not just say that. Chierstin, that's worse than not cussing.
No, I was going to say a poo storm sounds way worse. I would much rather be in a shitstorm than a poo storm.
Just say shitstorm. Are you okay? What is going on? Oh my God. All right. A shitstorm. I'll curse for you. How's that?
It was a storm and a half. Oh.
There was poo and shit in this storm.
I can't do this. Oh my God. This show is off the rails.
Anyway, it's no longer a thing. It was taken out of his contract. Basically, it said you got 4 hours of independent study that you got to do on your own, Kyler, every week outside of the bye week, and you can't watch TV, you can't play video games while you're doing your 4 hours of independent study. So that has since been removed. It was a heck of a backtracking by the Arizona Cardinals. There's conflicting opinions on whether it makes it look like makes Kyler look bad, makes it look Michael Bidwell look bad, Steve Keim, Arizona Cardinals, whoever. I mean, bottom line is like everybody just kind of looks bad in this situation. And Kyler wasn't really happy about it and surprised all of us with the press conference yesterday. So might as well take a look at what he had to say.
But today, I'm talking today because, I feel it's necessary, with what's going on as far as regarding me and the things that are being said about me. It's almost, to think that I can accomplish everything that I've accomplished in my career and not be a student of the game and not have that passion and not take this serious is almost.
All right, I'm not sure what happened there. Paused in the middle of what he had to say, but basically felt the need to have an impromptu press conference, address the media about the entire situation, what was being said around it, and sort of kind of sternly said, like, this is a joke. I don't know why you guys are saying this. I'm flattered if you think that, like, I could just be here without studying. And wanted to set the record straight, which good for him for standing up for himself.
Yeah, when I saw that this happened, I was shocked I think at first, because I don't really think of Kyler as a vocal quarterback, and I didn't ever imagine him coming out and saying something like this in the way that he said it. I think it's kind of common knowledge that Kyler really isn't this type of quarterback. So I was shocked when he came out and said something, but I'm glad that he did, because I think it's shown at least a little bit of evolution in who he is as a person, that if he's feeling some type of way of what people are saying about him and he feels like he needs to address something, then, I mean, I guess good for him for wanting to come out here and address it. When the news initially broke about this entire addendum in the first place, I was like a little bit beside myself, because as a fan of the Cardinals and as someone who covers them as well, it almost took me by surprise, because I don't think you put something in a contract and an addendum like that unless there's a problem. So obviously the Cardinals identified his study time, the amount of time he was watching film as an issue. And if they were going to invest $230.5 million in this quarterback, they wanted to make sure they protected their investment and made it clear to him that you need to study film at least 4 hours a week, which also 4 hours a week seems like the bare freaking minimum to me. Like, I don't know why it wasn't like 8-10 hours a week. It just seemed like too little. So the Cardinals identified a problem, and that concerned me. Like, if my franchise quarterback isn't watching film or isn't watching study or not doing it enough or is distracted while he's doing it, that's scary to me. Like, I don't want a quarterback to be paid that much money who doesn't take the time to watch film, which obviously I'm not saying that that's the case, but there must have been enough of a problem for them to want to put that addendum in the contract in the first place. And I didn't really, it made me feel a little uneasy.
This is literally the same exact argument that I was making last week when I saw that there was a bonus in his contract if he showed up to off-season workouts. That wouldn't have been in there if they didn't feel like, hey, you're not really here. We would really like you to be here. We're not going to force you. We're not going to say you have to, but we're going to give you an incentive because I think that it is beneficial to you and beneficial to the team that if you're here, so maybe we can incentivize you to do it. That was something that is not in every contract. And this is something that is not in any contract. And so all of these types of things add up. And I think that's why we're talking about it. It's because it certainly, it could be the Arizona Cardinals and Michael Bidwell helicoptering for sure. And now I've been in a situation too where I've been like offered a job and it's like, oh, but if we're gonna pay you this or if we're gonna hire you, then we really need you to show up and do your job. And I'm like, the heck you think I'm gonna do? So I understand that a little bit. That could be a little bit of helicoptering on the Arizona Cardinals side of things, where it's just like, you either, if he's your franchise quarterback and you're investing in this extension, he's going to be here for the foreseeable future and you're going all in on him being the guy, then just go all in on him being the guy and don't try to micromanage him. So I can see that aspect of it.
Absolutely.
But there's too much of what I have heard, what I have collected from teammates, former teammates, people around the organization in the past with him that adds up with these sorts of clauses being in his contract. And I will also say this, You want to make your employee happy, which is at the end of the day what he is to the Cardinals. And so you will do things to make them happy. But at what point can we not just say, like, hey, I put this in the contract because I felt strongly about it. Like, I'm going to stand on this ground. I mean, obviously they felt like it was, it garnered way too much attention. I'm sure that Kyler was very upset about it. Otherwise, he doesn't like the media. No. He doesn't like the media. Otherwise,
I think that's what happened. He literally got pushed to a point where he got so upset. He was like, I'm tired of being accused that I don't like watch film, or this is being made into a entire shitstorm. I have to get out there. I have to go say something. And I think every step of this entire contract debacle has surprised me. Like, I did not expect Kyler to come out and speak to the media yesterday. I mean, nobody did. It was a surprise news conference. Like, Kyler wasn't slated to speak to them yesterday. He came out, he said, I need to say something. Everybody put their recorders back on the dais or whatever it is, and he spoke. So, like, to imagine that it got that bad to push Kyler, who isn't an outspoken person, to say something. I mean, obviously he was bothered by it.
And he said it after it had already been taken out. So like, it wasn't good enough that it was just taken out. He also felt the need to speak, and it's not like he wasn't going to speak again, but to like immediately get up there and defend himself, which, you know what, honestly, like, I don't blame the guy for doing that or whatever. But like, I think the way in which he went about it, sort of attacking, like, as if like the media made something out of nothing. Well, it was in your dang contract. We didn't just make up the fact that it was in your contract, some rumor that somebody said this was in your contract and it wasn't. Now that would be the media making stuff up. It's not like it never happened. So like, I get that. Yeah. But like, there's a way to call out, like, this wasn't like fake news. Okay. Right. Like, nobody made this up.
Made something out of nothing.
Yes, exactly. And so it was something different that we don't see. That was interesting that was even in there. And we're talking about it. And we have the right to do that.
Absolutely.
Also, this is kind of a bet that he made himself, because to a point that Daniel made earlier, he did tell the New York Times last year that he doesn't watch much film because, quote, he's blessed with the cognitive skills to just go out there and just see it before it happens. So, I mean, he kind of did this to himself.
I wish I wasn't at that press conference. I wish I was, because I would have loved to ask him what he meant by that quote that he said a year ago. Yeah. So what, now you watch a crap ton of film? Is that what it is? Nobody's saying that like Kyler just straight up has no work ethic, which is what he was like up there. And if you are saying that, then like, I mean, like, come on. Yeah, you definitely don't get to, he had some points. You don't get to where you're at, where he's at, without having like any sort of work ethic and right. No study habits,
especially
whatsoever.
At his size, like he pointed out.
Yeah, like he pointed out for sure. But I don't know that like people were flat out saying he had zero work ethic or whatever. I think it just shows that like maybe there's some questions around it. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And that is okay to question.
Yeah. Frank in the comments saying that the media overreacted. I strongly disagree. I think the media reported on something that was alarming, and it should be alarming. The Cardinals just paid this man $230.5 million. That is generational wealth. And there were other concerns that they had in the contract, like the offseason workout clause, like wanting him to be in Arizona, working out in the offseason, the independent film study club. Like, there are things that the team are concerned about, that if they're going to invest this amount of money in this person, they want addressed. Probably they didn't think that this was going to blow up the way that it did, or this was going to be made into what it had been made into. But the media has a right to look at something like this and be like, holy cow, what is going on in the Cardinals organization right now?
You know how you make it all go away?
Shut up and put up.
Go out and win a couple of playoff games this season. And then nobody's going to be talking about it. Or if they are talking about it, then it's going to be in your favor, and you get to control the narrative from there.
Well, Chierstin, let me ask you this. Unbiasedly, do you think that the way that Kyler handled the situation, looking at the entire press conference and everything that he said yesterday, was that the appropriate reaction? Did he do the right thing coming out and saying that?
I think he was coming out at sort of the wrong people. I wish that it didn't have the twist to it of like, oh, you know, the media's making something out of nothing type of deal. I wish he would have just said, and like, flattered that anyone would, like, that sort of like rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. But I am totally for him defending himself, and I think it did send a message of like, hey, like, I am who I am. Like, he's the guy. He's the face. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm never going to fault somebody for speaking to the media more, because we haven't gotten that from Kyler. He doesn't like it. and he doesn't like reporters. So, you know, if Kyler feels, you know, confident enough to say like, hey, I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to flip the narrative. I want fans to know that I'm all in, that I do study, that I'm dedicated to this, that I'm appreciative of this opportunity, this contract extension. You know, like I can't be overcritical on every single thing that the guy says. So in this situation, like, whether it was right or wrong, you know, like, I don't know. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I have no issues whatsoever. And I think it did show like a step forward in terms of like just him being a leader. And an outspoken one at that. And so, I mean, that's what you need from him. And so, like, I think he did take a step forward by showing up yesterday and just, you know, being like, I have something to say. You want to ask me about it? Ask me about it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm glad that he said something. I'm glad he took the initiative to get out there. I agree with you on all those points. Do you think this now puts more pressure on Kyler to perform this season even more than there already was, because people were already questioning if the contract extension was even deserved in the first place?
Listen, I think the pressure began for Kyler 2 weeks after the end of the season when his agent decided to put out again, we had never seen it before, and it got everybody talking. His agent, and they're throwing like a public fit 2 weeks after the end of the season with the way the season ended. You're like, we've never seen this before, and we're all going to talk about it. And it just has continued from there. So it's not this isolated incident. I think it's incidences that have begun to pile up for Kyler.
Yeah.
But this one specifically, like, there's a lot of people that are like, it is what it is. It's a stupid 4-hour, like, independent study clause. Like, let's move on. Let's forget it. I'm not going to ever forget this. Like, because it's something that we've never really dealt with before. I think a storyline like this, along with stuff that we've heard in the past, so everything that has off the field that you can compile, is going to carry into the season one way or another, because you're going to have the opportunity now for people to say, see, I told you, one way or another, good or bad.
Yeah.
And I think that by him signing the contract extension for the amount of money that he signed for is also like, you got bigger expectations on you now. And so there is a whole lot of pressure that Kyler has not ever in his life had on his shoulders to perform. So what are you going to do with that pressure? Some people are fantastic under pressure. Some people, not so much. And then, of course, it's good when you're winning. Yeah. Like, it's the narrative.
Winning cures all.
Winning cures everything.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to carry into this season. I'm not necessarily saying that it's going to be like this glooming thing that's of negativity, but you're going to have that attached to you, positive or negative.
Yeah. I think the I told you so sweepstakes are at an all-time high. I think the pressure on not only on Kyler Murray, but on the Cardinals to be successful is through the freaking roof. Because as soon as they lose 2 games in a row, or as soon as the wheels start falling off the wagon, people are going to immediately be like, well, is he watching enough film? Yeah. Is he in the film room? Is he studying? Like already, even before the independent study clause was released, people were concerned about the amount of money that was being put into Kyler Murray. People were arguing out the wazoo if he even deserved that contract in the first place. So you already have people who are like, we shouldn't even have given him this money. And then you add on the fact that now these people are speculating, well, why are we even giving him this much money if he's not even going to study film into the equation? The put up or shut up mentality has to be in full effect this season, because I swear, as soon as there's a little sign of struggle, like losing 2 games in a row or 2-3 interceptions in a game or whatever it is, people are going to be like, I bet you he didn't study this time. I bet you he's not watching film. Like, this narrative of coming into the season is so negative. The entire Cardinals organization has just like a cloud hanging over it heading into the season, and winning does cure all. And I really hope that is what happens. And I hope Kyler goes out there and balls out and performs at the highest of his ability, and he just shuts everybody up.
I'm rooting for the guy.
Yeah, I hope to God that's what happens. But I'm scared of what's going to happen if that doesn't happen, because everybody and their mom outside of Arizona are going to be like, well, we told you so. You shouldn't have given him that much money. Like, this is what happens when you give a young quarterback who doesn't study and blah, 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 this much money. Like, I already can see it happening, and it already makes me want to die because I'm tired of being a tortured Arizona sports fan.
Well, I will say this too. People can grow.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I feel like I try to be as fair as I possibly can. And I try to draw from my own experiences, what I've heard, what I've seen. Also leave leeway for things that I know I just don't know about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to genuinely be as fair as possible, especially when it comes to criticizing other people, because I know how that is. It's like, you don't really know, you're not there every day. And I get that. And I would hate to be in the public eye to that degree where everybody's got a freaking opinion, and it might be a little bit true and it might be totally not true, or whatever the case is. And most people don't really know the full truth. So I get that. I understand that. So at the same time, I feel like I am appropriately critical of Kyler when it warrants it.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I am willing to say people grow, people mature, people learn from mistakes. And I am willing to say the Kyler that we knew his rookie year, his second year in the league, his third year in the league, eventually will not be the Kyler Murray that we are talking about heading into his fourth year. What about in the future, in his fifth and his sixth year? Mm-hmm. Are we going to hold him to things that he did as a rookie?
We shouldn't. I hope people don't.
So I'm willing to say, listen, I think there's a lot of negativity that we have heard come out of that locker room surrounding this guy. But can he change the narrative? The ball is in his court.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler, I'm rooting for you. And I hope you turn things around. And I hope you're able to squash the questions about your leadership and about your character through your actions. And I hope that we are in the future not having. I hope we're not having these conversations anymore. And I'm rooting for him. So I will say that.
Yeah. And to be frank, I'm tired of having these conversations. My God. It has been a marathon of drama ever since he deleted pictures off his Instagram account. And
that too.
Done.
Oh, yeah, that too.
I'm done. Yeah. No more. I'm done. I just want to see Kyler Murray be successful so we can just stop having these ridiculous conversations. And quickly, Chierstin, before we take a look at the comment section, I want to ask you, why do you think the Cardinals took the addendum out? And do you think it was the right move?
Yeah, see, that's a really tough one because the only good that comes out of taking that addendum out is it probably did something for Kyler. And at the end of the day, if you want your guy, like, he's the guy. So you want him to be happy. And so if you take it out, then you take some of that blame because now you look like the idiots that put it in there to begin with, right?
Yep.
So the Cardinals said, okay, we'll take a hit in order to make our quarterback happy in this situation where he clearly wasn't after this got out.
Yeah.
So, I commend them, I suppose, for doing that. I still think, like, listen, if you had it in there, just keep it in there. You obviously felt strong enough to put it in writing and have him sign on the dotted line to agree to it.
Yeah.
So, like, I have, like, conflicting thoughts on the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it just is what it is. And hopefully it made Kyler happy enough to where, they were able to make amends on it and there's no hard feelings, which I'm sure that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake. I think the amount of backpedaling that shows on behalf of the Cardinals organization just makes it worse. Like you said, they put it in there for a reason. They had him sign it for a reason. And now they're taking it out after all of this. Like, I thought it just made the situation worse. The backpedaling, it just looks bad. It looks like you have an undecisive front office that, like, doesn't know what they're doing with their contracts and will drop things or change things at that drop of a hat if it gives any amount of backlash to the organization. So I don't like the move. I think if you felt a certain type of way, you felt strongly enough that you needed to include that in the contract in the first place, you need to stick by that and you need to stand by that decision and you need to let Kyler know that you're supporting him, but this is how it is. And I think if Kyler would have just come out there and said, I study film. It is what it is. Let's get the season going. I think it almost would have made the situation a little bit better and we could have moved on. But now that it's out there, that it's taken away, it's like, what are we doing? Like, I think the move is silly, and I don't think it was the right thing to do to take it away. And I mean, I guess if that's something that Kyler felt very strongly about, and like he was the driving force behind taking it away, and that's what he needed to feel like the Cardinals have confidence in him as his franchise QB. Whatever, I guess that is what it is. But I think the backpedaling is not a good look. And I wish that they wouldn't have done that. And I wish they would have just stuck by their decision. Kyler talked about it yesterday. Now we can all move on. But again, this is now another storyline because they took the addendum out. And it's just, I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of it.
Classy nasty. We talking about practice. Kyler, Iverson, Murray. Yeah. When you get to a certain point, you can make those conversations, or you can make those comments. Daniel saying, I want the biggest storyline of Kyler Murray moving forward to be that he showed up dressed like a Nicolas Cage movie character. I don't think, first off, A+ moment.
Yeah, shout out Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers is fantastic for doing that. It was so funny. I don't think that Kyler, like, has that in him.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that type. Not that it's a bad thing, just not who he is.
Just not who he is. Yeah.
Josh Hunt said double down and make it a 20-hour-a-week addendum. Hey, that's what I said. When it came out that was only 4 hours a week, I was like, that seems very, very not enough to me to be a franchise quarterback only watching film 4 hours a week. Like, I feel like some of these guys are probably in the film room 4 hours a day. Like, I was confused about that.
Hey, we got a super chat.
Hey!
Sean Marks, happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate that.
Thanks for the super chat, Sean Marks. Frank saying, just get me a Super Bowl. Honestly, same. Just get me a Super Bowl. I won't care about any of this. Honestly, I will delete all the pictures off my Instagram if the Cardinals win a Super Bowl. So, winning cures all.
No brainer. Want to get into the comment section?
I think we should. Let's take a deep dive into the comment section.
All right. So a lot of people had a lot of things to say this week about this whole homework addendum. Where do we even begin?
I don't know, but I love the internet. I still can't believe the fact that Twitter is free purely from the entertainment aspect that I get out of Twitter. It is just bar none the best social media app. And I love the creativity that people come out with on this freaking thing. But one of the things that was posted was interesting because it came from a former teammate of Kyler Murray's. AQ Shipley joined the Pat McAfee show and had some thoughts.
That film study clause in Arizona, and obviously you've made Phoenix your home. You played for the Cardinals. You were with Kyler his rookie year. He's come out and said, like, the conversation and reaction around is disrespectful. He puts in an incomprehensible amount of work and all this. It's the first time this has ever been done. How do you feel about it? Do you think Kyler is legitimately pissed off about this or just doesn't want to talk about it?
Well, let me start by saying I just caught the tail end of what you and AJ were talking about. And AJ brought up a great point, which I think is – that's what I was like pointing at the camera. I don't know if anybody saw me, but it's like,
no, we didn't.
If this is so disrespectful to put this clause in, why the fuck did you sign it?
Okay. $160 million guaranteed.
Right? But is that really the real number? Is that the real number? Have we gotten the real numbers on that?
$103 million over the next 3 years is allegedly the real number.
But how does he? AQ. How does he sign it but then not talk about it?
Exactly. Like, or now we talk about it 4 days later because now it's become a big deal. Like, I don't really get that. And at the end of the day, if you're so, you want to talk about how well you prepare and all your study habits, then why are we holding a surprise press conference 4 days into training camp? If it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really understand this whole thing. But at the end of the day, like, to sit there and ask for somebody to put 4 hours of film study in a week, like you talk to most quarterbacks, that's laughable. They do that on a Monday morning.
Yeah, that's bare men is what
men.
Bare men there. Now, Kyler, I think that would have been his answer. That should have been his angle.
Some thoughts there by AQ Shipley. Cheers.
Yeah, and it's a little interesting. Obviously, they were only teammates for 1 year. It was Kyler's rookie season. But he would have worked. I mean, he was an offensive lineman. Mm-hmm. So, like, you're around the quarterback. And he could have easily come to Kyler's defense and been like, listen, it might have only been 1 year, but when I was around him his rookie season, like, that
always
dude,
always
watching film, a student of the game, out-prepared everybody else in that locker room. And he didn't say that. He was like, why the F did you sign it if this
that
isn't
outrageous.
a thing, as
Yeah.
that outrageous, and like why hold a surprise press conference to defend yourself and make it a whole huge thing and like whatever.
You signed it, like you know what
Yeah.
you signed up for.
So to hear a former teammate's perspective, not only a former player, but a former teammate's perspective on it. And I think, this is only a part of their conversation. I did like listen to some other takes of his, and like he wasn't bashing Kyler the entire time or anything like that, but to hear that specific, because I felt the same way. So I was like, thank you. This is like a former teammate, a former player that has the same view as I do. So like you could sit there and say, well, have you ever been in the locker room? Have you ever played football before? Like, no, but I still have a brain. And obviously there are people that agree with me.
Yeah, for sure. I was kind of surprised by what AQ said. I know some people in the comments are saying that he's bitter or that he's jealous, but I mean, why? Like he has moved on. He won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like he does not, as a coach, I don't think he gives any reason to be jealous. He doesn't give a shit. Like, he's not playing with Kyler anymore. He's not a part of the Cardinals organization anymore. The man has a Super Bowl ring with another organization. Like, I don't think he's jealous or cares at all. Like, I think he feels some type of way about, like, how him and Kyler had a relationship while he was here. And he commented on it. And like I said, he has the right to do that because they were teammates. And he knows Kyler better than anyone else because he shared a locker room with him for a year. So
Josh Hunt, AQ Shipley, once again, not protecting the quarterback.
Oh,
okay, that was a
fired.
burn.
That's funny.
Also, he's brought onto that show to be opinionated. So, like, he's not on that show just because he's just like this bitter guy that's wanting to vent. Like, he's got his own opinions, which is why he joins that show.
It's just interesting to me that it's another layer to this narrative of a former teammate, because when we were at Cardinals training camp, like Zach Ertz spoke, JJ Watt spoke. They all said that nobody, or Isaiah Simmons spoke. They all said nobody knows the game better than Kyler. They all think that he studies film. They can go to him with any questions about anything.
He for sure does.
Right.
Like, he doesn't not know the playbook.
Yeah. So it's just interesting to hear a dissenting opinion from somebody who was his teammate. And I don't really think has any motive to say anything bad about him other than that was just his experience. And that's that. All right. There were some other quarterbacks in the league, or previous quarterbacks, who had some thoughts and comments about this situation too. RG3 tweeting out about the situation, still bothered by Kyler Murray's situation. He has already had to deal with short jokes his entire life. Some say he looks like a toddler out there running around. And now the Cardinals give him a homework clause in his contract. What in the reading rainbow is going on in Arizona?
Also, that was like a backhanded like support comment.
I was about to say the same thing. He's like, some people say he looks like, not me, but some people say that he looks like a toddler.
Totally a backhanded compliment. Like, just rub it in his face that the dude is short and looks like a toddler running around there on the field. Like, ouch.
Yeah.
But then to like also drag the Cardinals organization into it and say what in the reading rainbow is going on out there. I mean, I don't know if that tweet was as effective as RG3 was hoping for, but I mean, other quarterbacks in the league are commenting on this and they're noticing what's going on in Arizona, and they've got some thoughts to share too.
Yeah, it just adds to the narrative of like, look, like nobody truly wins in this whole situation. Nobody wins. Everybody's got their opinions of who it makes look bad or whatever, but hey, people are talking about Arizona. That's good.
True. We're out there again. Well, aside from those two things, there were some hilarious, and I mean, I was crying tears looking at these memes on the internet. So we gotta bring them up. Barstool okay, disclaimer, I don't like Barstool, but Barstool tweeting out boys get on, I don't have homework anymore, and then a picture of Kyler playing a game. Luke Lipinski, friend of the show, hi Luke Lipinski, he tweeted out, wait a minute, independent study clause for Kyler with different caps letters, and then the letters spell out Call of Duty. It was there the whole time. This was just some Inception level marketing. Hilarious. And then another person tweeting out a fake head watching the computer screen, saying that this is how Kyler Murray watches film.
While they sleep in the background.
Yeah, while the person's actually asleep. So once again, the internet is undefeated, and I'm glad that there can be some levity that is made out of this.
I think it's funny.
I think it's funny too. I will say the picture of Kyler Murray playing a video game and the caption of boys get on, I don't have homework anymore. Violent flashbacks to living with my little brother, who would constantly get in trouble for not doing his homework and playing Call of Duty all the time. So congrats to the internet for being undefeated once again. That gave me a good chuckle. How about you? Cheers.
I think I am like here for it, and I hope that Kyler finds a little bit of like comedy in it too. I am somebody that can totally laugh at myself, and like I think that's such a skill in life that's gonna help you get past any sort of adversity or people talking crap about you or like whatever. So hopefully he found a little bit of comedic relief and some, or maybe he just straight up didn't get on the internet. But also there's like something to the video game stuff because he's still part of like the FaZe clan thing too, right? Like,
yes,
if you ask me anything about video games, I will look at you like I have no idea.
Sean, what can you tell us?
So yeah, part of FaZe clan, it's like a gaming community. Like a lot of the biggest streamers in the world, like gaming streamers in the world, really are part of like a FaZe clan. It's like a gaming team basically. Like they have.
He's like a professional gamer, right?
Yeah, like I don't know if they pay him or if it's more of like a mutually beneficial.
I'm pretty sure when that broke that he joined FaZe clan, like he was getting a contract to be a part of it.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean they have money. Like it's probably the biggest.
They have like a FaZe house. Like I know that they have like a huge content
have a big
house
in California where a bunch of like the gamers play. And yeah, he's like Bronny Jr. is also a part of it. Like I know he games for them too. It's just like a big like gaming culture kind of company.
The only game I know anything about is Fall Guys, and I'm really bad at it, but I love it anyway. Frank in the comments saying Kyler playing Madden is a part of the training. Oh my God, can you imagine if that's what he not that he ever would. I'm not saying that. No, he would never really say that. But can you imagine if he looked Michael Bidwell in the face and was like, yeah, I train. I play Madden. Yeah. I watch film. I play Madden. Oh my God.
I watch a ton of film.
I would die.
Also, I don't quote me on the getting paid for the FaZe clan thing. I swear when that came out like 2 years ago or whatever it was that when he like became a part of it that he was like
he probably does.
I'm sure,
it's like an endorsement deal. Like he gives them a little more validity and popularity amongst people who probably don't otherwise watch gaming. So I'm sure it's kind of like worked out as an endorsement deal for him.
All right. I just want to make sure that I was not spreading.
Yeah. Carol in the comments saying Kyler has begun his villain arc this offseason. He's got to embrace it like LeBron James in 2012. I totally agree. Like you just got to embrace it. Like the backpedaling, I think almost makes it look worse. So bring on the Kyler Murray villain era. I'm sure he is kind of jaded after everything that's happened this offseason. Like it has been a never-ending news cycle about that man and what is going on with his contract.
Let's play some freaking football. Let's just play some football.
If Kyler comes out in the sunglasses and is like, these people have to go back to their regular boring jobs tomorrow, I'll get a Kyler tattoo immediately. That would be so funny.
Wait, can I make one more comment that was spoken on Good Morning Football this morning about his shirt that said easy money?
Oh my God.
Why do you show it? So this was not my original. I didn't even really think twice about it. Kyle Brand on Good Morning America Good Morning Football brought it up and I was like, that's a freaking great point. Like, why do you show up to a press conference about how, like, you know, defending like this isn't easy and I study and whatever with an easy money shirt on?
Well,
what are you doing?
I would look at it being like, they're only asking me to watch 4 hours of film and I do that in my sleep, basically. This is easy money. Like, I loved it. I love when people are just dunk on people.
I thought it was kind of a baller move.
I don't know.
Well, speaking of Kyler Murray, if you want to get in on his MVP odds on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, you absolutely can do that. Although I don't know if I would recommend doing that now because he is currently at plus 2,000 on the DraftKings Sportsbook.
That's when you got to get in. You got to get on it now before he starts playing.
Get in on it now before he starts playing and the odds go up. I think he is the 6th favorite with Josh Allen being the favorite at plus 600 or 700 at the moment. So shout out to Josh Allen for being the favorite to win the MVP this year. But hey, if you want to back your guy Kyler Murray and you think this is the time and he is going to ball out and earn every single dollar of that $230.5 million contract and be the MVP, get over to the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Like I said, his odds to win are at plus 2,000, so it's a great time to get in if you want to put your money where your mouth is. I don't know if I'm willing to take that risk quite yet. I think I need to see a couple games before I get in on the Kyler Murray MVP conversation. But the best thing about the DraftKings Sportsbook app is that you can deposit your cash and withdraw it whenever you want. So if you get a little nervous like me, it's okay. You can get your money out. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PHNX. Make your first deposit and a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code PHNX only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Did we almost talk for an hour about that?
Yeah, I was going to say, we really just went off on the Kyler situation. Shout out to everybody in the comments for sticking with us. But I think it is okay to get back into our temperature check because there was a lot of things that happened in the Valley this week that are worth talking about. Most notably, the Phoenix Suns head coach Monty Williams officially signed his contract extension. So shout out to Monty. Thank you, Phoenix Suns, for making a great decision. I know that those are far and few between sometimes, and I think signing Monty to a long-term contract extension, he still had 2 years left on his current deal, but I think that was a great move. I think Monty is this organization. He is everything that you want in a head coach. He is a leader. He is a great man. He leads by example. Better, what is it? Well done is better than well said.
Yeah.
Tattoo that on my forehead.
Montyisms that I
Literally
love.
tattoo it on my forehead. I am so excited for Monty, and I think the contract
You
is
could just get one of
well-earned.
the hats that they sell. You don't have to get it tattooed on your forehead.
Oh,
They
okay.
do sell
I guess
those. I
that's
think
fine.
at the team shop now. I think like it's like a whole thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. You got to make money where you can. Cheers. How do you feel about the contract extension?
Oh, I love it. I've always been a huge fan of Monty. I can't speak enough great things about James Jones and Monty Williams, them two together. I think they've single-handedly changed the not only like the culture but the trajectory of the Phoenix Suns. They've changed the narrative. They've obviously changed the fact that they're now, they went from worst team in the NBA to one of the best, and they're able to now be in that conversation for years. I mean, they completely changed this organization around, and Monty was a huge aspect of all of that. And so he's a great beloved guy in the community. He's outspoken about topics that we've endured over the last few years that are tough topics to speak about. He doesn't shy away from it. And so, and he's a leader for everybody on the court. Everybody respects the guy. And so like he is the right guy for this job. So sign him to that long-term extension. He is so deserving of it. He's accomplished a lot in his short tenure here, just 3 seasons. And I would want no other coach for this season I guess season can mean 2 things. Like this season of like meeting the next few years with the Suns organization. Like he's the guy.
Yeah, he's the guy. And the championship window for the Suns, it's do or die, baby. Every day it feels like that window is getting smaller and smaller. So Monty is absolutely the person to lead the Suns through this little season, like you said, of time.
I know. I'm like, what other word is there other than season? Like, obviously, if we're thinking about
season's it.
Yeah.
But to think that Monty will be at the head of this organization when the Suns win their first championship makes me smile, because I don't think anybody deserves it more than Monty Williams and the guys on the Phoenix Suns. So shout out to Monty. You're the best.
Well done. Good job. Happy for you, Monty. Some more serious news, though. You could look at it as a step in the right direction, though, certainly. We've gotten more news on the Brittney Griner situation. The Biden administration proposed, Biden signed off on a prisoner swap we're just now finding out about. That would, get Brittney Griner as well as Paul Whelan, the other prisoner out in Russia, back for a deal for a Russian arms dealer that goes by the name of the Merchant of Death.
Yeah, interesting.
And so like obviously there's like it's a complicated situation. Like this is the first time we ever heard anything about there being action behind Biden's words. Like we've heard, he called Brittany's wife up and said, hey, we're doing, like we've heard like, hey, we're doing stuff, but this is the first like tangible action that we've heard that has been taken.
Yeah.
But like, listen, if you haven't been paying attention to this storyline over the last 5 months, if you've listened to our show or any of our content here at PHNX, we have talked about it, okay? But if for some reason you have not been following this, the fact that the Biden administration offered to swap a guy that's called the Merchant of Death that is charged with and convicted of aiding a terrorist group, we're talking about serious stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
And the situation is incredibly sad. It's incredibly serious. And it's an example of an incredible injustice. And so I hope that this also coming to light, obviously the best case scenario is we get her back immediately. But in the meantime, I hope people who have ignored this story or have developed some sort of like bias of why, whether she was deserving or whatever, because I still have seen those look at the magnitude of this.
Yeah.
It's serious, serious stuff. And I hope that you'll begin to like read into what exactly is going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a complete injustice.
Well, there was more news that came out about the situation, that not only was she not told her rights when she was arrested at the airport, but then her interpreter that was assigned to her case did not interpret any of the documents that were presented before her in any of the pretrial proceedings, and made her sign documents that she didn't understand, basically accusing her of being guilty of a crime. And that's horrifying. That's terrifying. Brittney is now representing herself over there, and she has come out to the court and publicly declared that she has not been treated fairly, therefore discrediting anything that the Russian government might say about a fair trial. And listen, I don't care if she's guilty. I don't care if she's committed a crime. She's an American citizen, and she needs to come home now. It is embarrassing that it has taken this long to get an American citizen back here, especially one of such high prolific like stature. And I know that Paul Whelan has been there for a while, and I feel horrible for him, but we need to get these Americans home. I don't care if she's guilty. I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care that she's committed a crime. She's an American citizen in a hostile country that has been treated completely unfairly, and it's not okay for her to still be over there. And I'm sorry, but the comments on these are disgusting. It's not okay. She is a human life. She is a living, breathing human American citizen that is stuck in a foreign country that is not treating her fairly, and she should not be there. It is not okay, and it's time to bring BG home. So I'm glad that at least we're making some progress, and there are tangible results coming out now of progress being made about getting her back here. She's a human being, and she deserves to be back home with her family.
And she's considered a prisoner of war. So, like, it's not like this is simply like, well, she deserves, like, just pay attention to what the story is.
And, like, where's the compassion from people?
Yeah.
Like, people are saying, leave her there because she committed a crime. Are you kidding me?
Also,
where's the forgiveness? When you do something wrong, when you mess up, when you break the law, I'm sorry, are you speeding down the freeway going, like, 20 miles an hour and you want to be left in jail? Like, where is the forgiveness? Where is the compassion in this situation? Like, show a little humanity. Leave her there? Are you kidding me? What is wrong with you? Like, I don't care if she committed a crime. Bring her home. Like, the whole thing blows my mind. And I hate the people that say that, because have a little bit of a compassion, have a little bit of a forgiveness and understanding. Like, I'm sure if that was your ass over there in a Russian jail, you wouldn't want people over here in America, in your home country, saying leave you there. That's ridiculous.
Also, the narrative that, like, oh, she did a crime. Like, let's be fucking real. She had weed. Like, it's not like she killed somebody. It's something that's not even illegal here. And you can't ignore the fact that Russia's clearly using her as like a pawn.
It's a pawn. She's a pawn.
That's why she's being considered a prisoner of war.
Not a prisoner of war, wrongfully detained. But yeah, it's disgusting to me. Like, have some compassion, have some empathy. Like, of course, like, we're not condoning breaking the law, but like, are you kidding me? It's weed. Like, we literally consume and advertise for a weed company on this podcast. Like, I'm sorry, but you're in the wrong place if you think that it's okay to leave BG over there because of what she did. Like, they're using her as a pawn, and that alone should be reason enough for you to get upset that the fact that she's stuck there and wrongfully detained and she needs to come home. And that's that. I'm sorry.
There are articles that are calling her WNBA star remains a prisoner of war in Russia. So like, I won't like go all in on that term, but like I'm not the only one that has used that term. So like, it's all like very serious stuff. Like, obviously we're not a political show. So we don't need to get into all that, but yeah, but you also have to recognize that, like, if we're talking about guys that have literally aided terrorists and like people that are like serious arms dealers and things like that we're trying to give up in exchange for her, like, and we're dealing with Russia, like it's not, and they are in the middle of a war. So like, it's not an easy, just like a simple thing, like, oh, just fly a plane over there and go pick her up. Like, it's a very sensitive situation. So I do want to be like mindful of that as well. But at this point, it's just like heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. And at minimum, the thing that like we can do is like at least like educate yourself on the situation a little bit more before you start spewing like generalities or hate or, you know, prejudice or whatever the case is around the situation on social media and stuff like that. When you just take a look into it, just take a deep dive into the situation and just see what's actually going on there.
All right. Let's end the show on an interesting note. MLB trade deadline is right around the corner. It's next week. And the Diamondbacks, they've had some things come out about their strategy. Sarah Cazell, a friend of the show from Arizona Sports, tweeted out something about Derek Hall's appearance. Sean, Sarah Cazell's tweet. Please.
I don't know where it is. Hold on.
Basically, DBacks president CEO Derek Hall said on Arizona Sports that the team's success coming out of the All-Star break will not impact their strategy at Tuesday's deadline. So regardless of what the Arizona Diamondbacks have done, they've been super successful. They just swept the Giants. It's not really going to impact their strategy. And then we have video from David Peralta in the locker room, thanks to our friends at Cronkite News, talking about his tenure here in Arizona.
It's going to be hard for me, of course, if it happens, because this is the organization who get an opportunity to believe in myself, and I'm always going to be thankful for everything they did for me.
So obviously David Peralta is one of those names that has been out there on the trade block for the Diamondbacks. He does play in the outfield. He is aging. And if you don't know anything about the Diamondbacks farm system, they have prospects out the wazoo coming up in that system. And the outfield is about to be very crowded with Corbett Carroll, Alec Thomas, Dalton Varsho. The list goes on and on. So that's probably why David Peralta's name is out there. His contract and his age and his position just kind of inconveniently line up for when all of these all-star outfield prospects are supposed to be making their debut. But the thought of David Peralta not being in a Diamondbacks jersey obviously sucks. He is the face of the franchise, and it's going to be weird if he does get moved because, of course, he spent his entire career here. So it's going to be a little sad for me. Cheers. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. If there was one guy that I wouldn't want to see leave, it's David Peralta, just because he's a fan favorite. He's a media favorite. And I think he is he brings life to a group of guys and a team and a clubhouse that has been struggling, and he's been for years, for the last few seasons here, and he's just been a guy that's been constant and a guy that's been uplifting and just brings positivity to the team. So like for those reasons, like it's the freight train. Like I would hate to see him leave. If it gets to that point, we'll see. Tuesday's trade deadline coming up. But like the Diamondbacks, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business, and I think that everybody should be like up for potential like grabs, right? Like whatever deals that you can make. I think Derek Hall added to that interview on Arizona Sports that it's going to be a combination of trading and selling for them. They're not going all in on being buyers or sellers.
Yeah. He also added that anything that they do will be to improve the major league roster. So they're not really in the business of looking for prospects or wanting to restock their farm system. And the Diamondbacks have a top 5 farm system. Yeah, their farm system is just fine. It is over the top fulfilled. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Diamondbacks do. I think they're in a really weird spot because of the organizational philosophy that they've had the last couple of years. The Diamondbacks have done this really weird, like half in, half out retooling instead of rebuilding thing. And I think it's almost kind of come back to bite them because now they're in this spot where, their farm system is great. It's super talented. But now we're in a position where we have multiple players at multiple different like positions that have like a line out the door to try to like get out there. The outfield obviously being one of those positions. So I'm kind of concerned about what they're going to do because, like I said, they've done this weird retooling instead of rebuilding thing. And now it seems like they're in a really, really, really weird spot where they've got a really weird contract with Madison Bumgarner getting paid way too much money for what he does. And then you look down the payroll and like, there's like guys that don't even come close to matching Madison Bumgarner's payroll. So, I mean, I think at the top of the list for the Diamondbacks trade line, it should be moving Madison Bumgarner off of this team because that contract is stupid. And
I don't think it should be all about like money. That like I don't like I think now I'm not like defending the Mad Bum. I think that like depending on like what you can get for him, like he's not a guy that's like no, protect him at all costs. But I don't personally subscribe to like just offload as many contracts as you possibly can and bring up the young guys in the next year or two or whatever, just for the sake of like, because I don't know how far that gets you either. There's still value in having veterans at different positions on your team. Like, I don't want next year, like, Dalton Varsho to be considered like the veteran of the team. So, you get rid of Mad Bum, you get rid of David Peralta. I mean, like, who else would be on that list? And then
Ian Kennedy, Zach Davies,
right?
Joe Mantiply for sure.
Yeah,
which also makes me sad because the bullpen has always been an issue for the Diamondbacks, and they finally get out a reliever that goes to the All-Star game, and they're like, "See ya, Joe." Hopefully they don't do that to Joe, because I think that's one player they can definitely afford to keep.
Yeah, if they go that route.
And since they're not fully rebuilding their entire farm system, I don't think that they necessarily need to do it, like you said. Like, definitely want to clear away some salary space so that we can afford to maybe be buyers in a certain situation later down the road where our young guys are performing well, and we just need some of like older all-stars to really complement them. So having the capital to do that at some point, I think, is really important, because you do want to be a buyer when the time is right. I don't think that time is now, but I think this trade deadline will definitely make a clearer path forward of where the organization is at with their retooling. And it will definitely draw some lines in the sand, which I think are going to be helpful. But I think either way, I would be really sad to see David Peralta go, because he's a freight train, and the freight train is the face of the organization. And it will be another player that we lost to the trade deadline. Unfortunately, that was a franchise player.
Yeah, one more just thing about that with David Peralta specifically is just like, I feel like the Diamondbacks have had like a face of the franchise issue. Like, that's a part of like trying to find this identity. And I think that obviously guys can naturally become over time or whatever like a face in the community, a beloved personality, but I feel like that's an undervalued position, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm putting that in air quotes of like, it's so valuable to have that one guy that's just like super beloved, that's a huge part of the community, that everybody knows that if he gets a hit, like literally the entire the entire stadium is doing like the choo choo like thing, and like those types of players, like especially in your down years, that fans can gravitate towards.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just comes with like pure like skill or athleticism or talent or whatever, like production on the field. Like, sometimes it's just naturally drawn to it. But like I definitely don't want to get away from like those beloved characters as well for a franchise that remember where you are, where you came from, where you've been. Like, those guys are still very important, not at the expense of winning, right? Like, I'm not saying that, but just like, I feel like that there should be some mindfulness in that regard. Yeah, absolutely. Well, like Derek Hall said, they're building for 2023 and beyond. And if you're not paying attention to the Diamondbacks, now would be a great time to start, because I have full faith. I just have this like feeling in my gut that the Diamondbacks are going to be a really, really, really good team for years to come 2023/2024, when all of those top prospects are set to debut. So now's the time to get on the train. It might not be a freight train after Tuesday, but it's still going to be a train. Some sort of train. Oh, Chierstin, you know what I need right now? I need an OG's. I am with you. You want to split one? Yeah, let's do it. I freaking love OGs. They are the best THC scratch-made gummies in the state of Arizona. They're made right here in Arizona, which only makes them better in my opinion. They have the best flavors in the whole world. Orange creamsicle is my favorite, but they they released a limited summertime edition flavor. Pina colada, the pineapple, and the creamy coconut are chef's kiss together. So if you're into trying gummies, head on out to your local dispensary and pick up some OGs. They've got great indica and sativa strands. They've got the 10 milligram option or the 3 milligram option if you want to start with a microdose and not necessarily jump off the THC cliff, which are also really great, and I can't recommend them enough. Make sure to check out OGs online at ogsbrands.com and on Instagram at ogsbrands. You can also find their products at your local dispensary. Like I mentioned, you must be 21 years or older to purchase. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. If you're just now joining the show, I'm sorry. You have no idea what that just happened, but you'll have to go back and watch the beginning. Cheers, it's Friday. It's Friday then. It's Saturday, Sunday.
What?
What is Friday then?
It's Saturday, Sunday. What?
Thank you all so much for watching this episode of the PHNX Sports Podcast. Don't forget to do the YouTube-y things. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, ring the bell so you get a notification whenever we go live. If you're listening to this on an audio-only format, give us a 5-star review. It really, really helps us out. If you want to become a part of this family, this weird, dysfunctional family we've got going on, head on over to gophnx.com and sign up for a membership. You'll get your first month for only 50 cents. Or if you sign up for an annual membership, you'll get a free t-shirt from the PHNX locker. Got a ton of other great benefits, including the members only Discord, discounts in your email. It's all great stuff. Come be a part of the family. And Chierstin, it's the weekend. Let's go party.
Yeah, have
Bye,
a great
everybody.
weekend, everyone.
See you next week at 12:30.